So grief is not just about death. Your body experiences grief every time that something in your life is truly over. And if that gets blocked, that energy of grief, then your energy system stays stuck with it. Grief is the body's natural mechanism for releasing what is already over. In Mickel Therapy, the key understanding of grief is that it's a completion and release signal. It's energetic, it's not driven by thought. And so changing how you think or generating new ways of approaching life is not going to do it, because it's a very, very natural process to allow this energy of completion to be released. And interestingly, the common triggers, obviously, are not just death, but any life cycle that has come to an end. And what I mean by that is that can be the children growing up and leaving home, retirement, loss of a job, a relationship starting to become an energy mismatch and no longer working. These are all triggers of the grief energy movement from the body, which is simply just to complete the cycle and allow almost a refreshing. It's a natural process to grieve, because the nature of life is that many things change and we have to move on from them. But the real problem is when our head gets in the way of it and doesn't allow the flow of energy. Because when emotional energy is blocked, as we've discussed many times, it has a direct effect in the hypothalamus and will produce multi-system disarray and symptoms. So what blocks grief, other than the head and its way of approaching things, is that, we're all brought up in the world, me personally brought up in Scotland, to show evidence of grief or sadness is often been viewed as a weakness, which is kind of absurd, but it's the way culture works. And so trying to be strong enough and thinking I should be over this now and I must move on from this, that's where your head is starting to get over involved. It is purely an energy that needs to flow. So we'll look in a moment in more detail about a simple exercise to allow this to happen. So the blocking of the grief is the problem that creates potential for symptoms. And really it's just an unresolved emotional energy that needs to flow through you. Now, grief is not weakness in any form. It's how your body, emotional energy completes life events and allows you to move on with the next step in life. Now, for a simple exercise for you, if you sense a heaviness, usually heart-based, chest-based, just a sense of what your brain is probably labelled as a form of sadness, then don't overanalyze it, don't think it, just feel it and let it flow. Let it go wherever it wants to go. I used to joke with clients about you should view grief as a call for your bladder to empty and go to the toilet. Just create space for yourself and allow the flow of emotion. Now, grief is very different for everyone. It depends on spiritual beliefs, their willingness to accept this energetic model of grief just being a cleansing emotional release of things that are not necessarily dead, but just cycles in life that are no longer healthy for you. So, as well as involving the death of people, you've also got relationships and perhaps even your own self Growth can lead to a grief because you're no longer the person that you feel that you should be or you have been. And that can produce not a sadness, because grief is not sadness, it's just a release of old energy. So as the person changes, there may be a sense of loss of some kind, and it has happened because energetically they've shifted, the old energy needs to move through. So I hope that's made some sense of grief to you. And next video, we are going to look at a very often misunderstood and certainly missed emotion that I call body boredom or lack of fulfilment. Thanks very much.